Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back for another episode, and I'm absolutely thrilled today to have with you Michelle Masker. Michelle, first of all, welcome, and thank you so much for coming up to Kerrville to visit with us today.
Hi, Tom. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Michelle, what was your role in the film Sherlock Holmes, Mare of the Night?
I was the, I guess, lead antagonist of the film.
And did that antagonist have a name?
We'll call her the villain.
Before we get into the film, could you tell us a little bit about your professional background and when you got into acting?
Yeah, my professional background, I've always wanted to act. I was the child that would stand in front of a mirror and just act out two different people at a time. I did a little bit of drama in high school and middle school. And then I just kind of got away from it because of sports. And then when I was in college, I decided to get back into it. I even moved to California for a couple months and came back because it was just too much going on in my personal life and everything. And then I stayed away from it and I didn't start acting again till 2014. So I've been back at it for about 10 years, I'd say.
And what has your work been? Has it been on the stage? Has it been in film? Has it been a
All in
combination?
film.
All in film.
All in film. Yeah. I really admire all the theater actors out there for that to me. I think that would be harder for me to be in front of an audience like that. But I love film. So I've done commercials, independent films, a few feature films. I did another independent film with CJ where I played a vampire. And that's where we initially met. And then I auditioned for this role. But I would say this is probably the biggest film that I've done. I have done some like featured extras on Fear the Walking Dead. I was in that and some other bigger commercials, but this is the most fun I've had, I'll tell you that.
You are from San Antonio now, is that correct?
Yes.
Has your film work been in Texas, or have you traveled all over for that?
No, my film work's all been in Texas. I've gone to Dallas and Austin and San Antonio, surrounding areas, but that's pretty much where I've been.
So tell us about your work on Sherlock Holmes, Mayor of the Night.
Mhm.
What is it like to be the villain? Is it delicious? Is it fun? Is it challenging? Do you get to go to dark places that you've always wanted to? What's it like, I guess, maybe to prepare
Okay.
yourself for such a role?
This particular character that CJ created, she's a new Sherlock Holmes original. And he did a great job of making her very layered. So she's been through a lot, she's seen a lot. She's a new person. She's very articulate, very cultured. I had to do a lot. She speaks about a lot of different books and classic authors. I went back and read those books because I'd never read them and I wanted to speak from the heart. I did a lot of reading, a lot of learning about art. I wanted her because she was well traveled. I kind of created a quirky accent, which was really fun. So she was a lot of fun to play. And yeah, she does go to some pretty dark places. So there's some hyperventilating at times because you're in there during the scenes, but it was a lot of fun. It was the most fun I've had on set. So I'm very grateful to CJ for giving me such a fun role.
So as we've had the opportunity to visit with several members of the cast and crew, but one question I've had for everyone is the following. What's it like, or what did you feel knowing you were going to play in a movie about one of the most iconic fictional characters ever? I mean, there are probably 3 or 4 or 5 characters that any person in the world could name, and Sherlock Holmes would be one of them.
Mhm.
Does that bring enthusiasm, excitement, pressure, to all of those actors before you? Do you stand on their shoulders? What's it like to be in a Sherlock Holmes movie?
I think all of the things that you said, there's definitely a lot of pressure. You want to honor the character. I had never actually read a Sherlock Holmes novel. So I did do that. I think it was the Basset Hounds one.
Hounds of the Baskerville.
Yes, thank you. I did. I read that. I loved it. It was really good. So yeah, I wanted to be true to the original author, the character, and I've seen some of Sherlock Holmes films, which of course are much different than the ones that I've seen than from the actual books. But yes, it did put a lot of pressure on just to So classic character, beloved by many people. So you want to do it right.
The first Sherlock Holmes novel featured a female character,
Mhm.
as the villain.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
And, uh, not that we hadn't had female villains before, but that was pretty unusual in Victoria, England, for the
Mhm.
first of a series of novels or short stories even to feature a female character, a female villain, excuse me,
Mhm.
Irene Adler, or as Holmes would say, that woman.
Yeah.
And I want to bring that forward because here we are in 2024. And what's the dynamic, or what was the dynamic you felt being a female villain against one of the great male characters of all time?
I wanted her to be strong and to represent women as we are, strong and powerful, and also someone that could go head to head with Sherlock. So I didn't take the character lightly. I did my best to make her a strong villainous person that was believable. That this person, yes, this person could go head to head with Sherlock, and this person could lead others or manipulate other people. Yeah, I took it seriously. I took it. It was.
You mentioned a little bit earlier at one point in your, I guess, high school life, you got into athletics.
Mhm.
Do you bring physicality to your roles, and specifically this role? Were you able to use some physicality, whether it's a fight, whether it's a run, whether it's anything physical, that sort of athletic skills?
I Yes, I didn't have to go running, but I was physical during the film, and then also preparation. They really had a we had a really big party. I think CJ may have mentioned it in the film, and Derek came up with an amazing costume for my particular character. So I wanted to look good. So I also did a lot of working out prior to that scene. But yeah, she was very physical and she appeared very strong in the film.
What was it like working with the other actors on set?
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. I'd worked with CJ before. I knew that was going to be great and fine. I had worked as an extra on a film several years ago that Les was in. And so that was my first encounter with him, was to actually see him a few feet away from me acting. And I was blown away. So it was like, anytime you could ever act with this man, you need to do it. And then actually being in a scene with him was, yeah, it was phenomenal. He's a great person to just bounce a relationship off of. And then Taylor King, she's a new actress, and this was her first film from my understanding, and she was great. She was a lot of fun, so much emotion and raw talent. So I had a great time with all of the actors in the film. Trying to think. I know I worked with Ian and he was phenomenal. So I admired everyone. CJ did a great. I think there were several people involved in the casting and they did a great job with all the actors.
What is the preparation process like working with CJ? Is it a lot of rehearsal?
CJ is great because he's available to you. He's very open and he says, "Hey, call me, send me a message, whatever you need." So yes, there was a lot of preparation. We had a lot of dialogue about the character, her background, what he visioned for her, what I envisioned for her. And then he also had us, the scene actors, work together. Taylor and I actually did our scenes via Zoom, I want to say at least 4 times before we were actually on set. So, yeah, there was no shortness of preparation for this film.
What about production? What's that like with CJ? Is it multiple takes? Is it one take? Could you give me a little bit more, Michelle? Could you take it back a few steps? How does that part of the process work? Or at least how did it work in Mare of the Night?
CJ is the kind of person that will do it till it gets it right. So if you get it right in one take, it's one take. If you need several, you'll do several. He does like to do a lot of different angles. So you do have the same thing in different, a few times in different angles. but you never feel like it's wasted. It all seems very purposeful and you're in it. And I trust him. I think most of the cast trusts that he's getting it done for the film.
How is working with or for CJ different than some of the other directors you've worked for in movies?
What I really like about CJ is that he really does take the time prior to being on set to make his actors feel comfortable. A lot of directors, and I understand, they just want you to be ready to go when you're on set and that's it. It's your job to get ready. And CJ believes that as well. Yeah, when it's go time, you need to be ready to go, but he's much different in that he will spend some time with you prior to, if you need it, to get ready for the character, to get ready for the scene.
Did you have to go back and do any retakes or additional photograph after principal photography wrapped?
No, we have talked about doing a retake on one of the scenes, but I think he's still deciding on whether he wants to do that. And I believe he may be adding a couple of scenes for part 2 with the villain.
What are 2 or 3 of the top highlights of this experience for you?
Hmm. I would have to say just playing this character and the monologue. She has a great monologue, a great speech. She likes to talk. So I had a lot of dialogue and lines. And when you're an actor, you want to talk. I mean, you want to be in the scene. So that was huge for me. 2 was just being able to be with really amazing actors that you just feel very, when you feel very comfortable, you really feel like you can bring out your best performance. And so it helps when you have other great actors with you. And then 3, I think, is just having the opportunity to this role in general, and working with CJ because he creates such a safe space for you to kind of go out on a limb and take risks and feel like you're doing the right thing because he thinks it's good. So it's good. It's just created a good space for that.
What does working in a project like this mean for potentially your career down the road? It would be someone sees the movie and would notice you. Is it that you've worked on a production that might do, even though it's an independent? Is it kind
Mhm.
of all of the above, none of the above, or something different?
No, I think this is a pivotal film for me. I really think that if a lot of people view it, I think it could be great for my career. It also kind of lights a fire because I'm like, oh man, I got to put some more of my content on my social media. People are going to want to see who I am or what I've done. So, yeah, it's very inspiring and I'm hopeful. And I think if the film does as well as we think it will, that it could be great, for my career.
Michelle, unfortunately, we're near the end of our time for this podcast, but I did want to end by asking you if any of our listeners wanted to connect with you on any of your social media platforms, what might be the best way to do so?
They can reach me through Instagram at Michelle Masker Film. And or if they want to learn more about Sherlock Holmes Mare of the Night, we also have a Facebook page for Sherlock Holmes Mare of the Night as well. And CJ Goodwin, it's GODYWIN, if you want to reach out to CJ, the creator of the film.
Michelle, I wanted to thank you again for taking the time to visit with us, and I can't wait to see the movie.
Oh, me too. Thank you.